original club was founded in 1898 on a property down in the center of Springfield. In 1906, the club moved up to the current property, which was originally horse farms. That's when there was a 6-hole sand-based green golf course on property. And then in 1921 is when Donald Ross came in and designed the current 18 holes that are on property right now. Over the years, we've hosted multiple Ohio amateur events. In recent history, also the Ohio Senior Am, the US Senior Challenge, which is a nationwide amateur senior event, and also the US Open Sectional Qualifiers. The renovation process really started about 12 years ago. Prior to my coming to Springfield, they had contacted some different architects to develop a long-range improvement plan. The purpose of the plan was going to be to keep the club always going in the right direction. When I came in 2003, we decided to, at that point, pick our architect, which was Force Design, was the company. Jim Nagel was our architect. We chose them because they have done multiple Ross renovations in the past. They have a feel for getting these classic golf courses back to the way they originally were intended to be played. So we came in and had him evaluate our golf course, everything from tree removal, greens, bunkers, tees, expanding some fairways, things like that. And a lot of what we were looking at doing was going to be getting our golf course back to the way Donald Ross intended it to play in 1921, with obviously emphasis on today's modern technology for green speeds. A large part of it was redoing our 3 severest greens, 4, 8, and 18. Springfield has always been known for very sloping back to front greens. However, those 3 were not necessarily consistent with today's green speeds. It was not uncommon for us to be mowing those greens only once when we're double cutting other greens. Cupping positions were anywhere from 4 to 7%, and we had very limited cupping positions on top of that as well. So we wanted to get those greens to match up with today's green speeds and mower technology. And so as we rebuilt them, we were able to increase our cupping position to roughly 60 or 70% on each of those greens. The second big aspect of the renovation was the bunkers. They had very little inputs over the years, and what we wanted to do was make them more consistent, yet get them back to their original depths and shapes from years ago that we've kind of lost through years and years of maintenance. Some of them, after the renovation, have gotten considerably deeper, a foot or 2 deeper, and we kind of went back to the original look of where the sod rolls down into the bunker a little bit further, more of a sod-faced bunker as opposed to a sand flashed up bunker. Maintenance-wise with the new bunkers, we installed drainage and liner and obviously new sand. What it's enabled us to do is we have a lot less inputs into the bunkers now, so our original investment, we're going to start to get some kickbacks as far as operating expense after large rains and things like that. Some of the other changes, we always had hard lips on our old bunkers. They're going to be a little bit shaggier on the edges. We're not going to have a hard lip anymore. But the sand itself is much more consistent throughout and can handle large rain events much easier. The project was supposed to start on September 21st. We got into a pretty rainy fall pretty quickly. We were originally going to start immediately on the greens. Because of the moisture, we kind of switched gears and started on bunkers a little bit. When we did actually start on the greens, the process was to, after we had a sketch from Jim Nagel of the rough idea of what we wanted the green to look like with different tiers and slopes, we stripped the sod off, placed it off on the side, removed the top 10 inches of material on the greens, which was a fairly well amended sand soil mix, pushed it off on the side, and then changed our subgrade to very close, to match very closely to what our ultimate green would look like once the sod was put back in place. Put the material back in. That's when we brought in Jim Nagel again, had him on property, shooting slopes to make sure our transition zones from Some of the areas across the greens would match up with what we were originally thinking, and then put the sod back in. Each green we did in 3 to 3.5 days. The bunkers, like I said, we started a little bit before the greens, and that was a result of the weather. We ended up finishing, the last sand went in the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That was always ultimately my goal, was to finish by Thanksgiving. We finished at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, which was kind of funny that it was that close. But in the end, we did 45 bunkers. All the bunkers had new liners, drainage, and tour grade 535 sand installed. Total sand amount was 1,075 tons of sand. We also resodded majority of our green complexes, and the bunkers we redid with 2 acres of bluegrass sod as well. I think the long-term benefits of our project, I'll deal with the greens first. First of all, I think greens match up with the rest of the golf course, and we're able to maintain everything at the same height of cut now. We're able to move the pin locations around a little bit, and it really sets us up to use today's modern technology with mowers, growth regulators, and things like that, where we always used to maintain those greens slightly different. The biggest benefit with redoing our bunkers is much fewer inputs on our part. We have consistent bunkers throughout around our greens. We can handle large rain events without a lot of input on my staff for fixing washouts and things like that. Just recently, in fact a week ago, we had a 2-inch rain event over about 3 hours. In years past, that would have had standing water probably for 2 days afterwards, and we would have had substantial washouts to fix. To put it in terms of man hours, we were able to rake all bunkers the following morning in 4 to 5 man hours, where in years past it would have taken us 20 to 25 man hours total. I think for our guests and our returning players during the qualifier, that they're going to find greens that are much fairer to play. Still have to be careful, but you won't be penalized for necessarily good shots like we were in the past.